This is Rich Steeves, web editor at TMC. I'm here in lovely Austin, Texas for IT Expo 2012. Joining me now is Shai Berger, CEO of Fonolo. Shai, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Now, I understand that your company has an announcement that you made here at the show.
That's true. A press release just hit the wire this morning. It was announcing as a new customer the First United Credit Union from California. And we're really excited about this deal. They're using Fonolo to improve the call center experience for their customers. And before Fonolo, their customers had the typical experience that we're all familiar with call centers. They would dial a 1-800 number, there's a phone menu, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, wait on hold, get an agent. Now what's going to happen is from the website of the credit union, there's a visual interface where they can choose the kind of agent they need, the kind of interaction they need. They click the button, they get a call back when the next agent is ready. So no waiting on hold, no phone menus. And I think they're going to be really happy with it.
I think I, as a caller, would be happy with that as well. The other thing I think that is pretty exciting about your presence here at the show is that you just took part in a panel that I think has one of the best titles of any panel that we've had here in a while. It's called Don't Waste Your Time with Social. Tell us a little bit about that panel.
Yeah, that's quite a provocative title, and I didn't pick it. I wouldn't have picked something quite so controversial. And it was full, which is great for an early morning panel. So I think the title did draw a bunch of people in. I guess the premise is that there's so much emphasis and attention paid to social. It begs the question, is it really paying off for people? And from my perspective, where we're dealing with companies that have large call centers, it is interesting because there are two different interactions that matter here. When you think about how social media and the call center intersect, one way to think about it is as an alternative to phone calls. People will send a tweet to the company and say, hey, where's my package? It was supposed to be here. Or my printer isn't working. Or can you, do you have a sale? So that's instead of picking up the phone, they're tweeting. But that's really a small percentage of people when you talk about the overall population. A study from Pew just came out where they said only 13% of Americans have ever used Twitter at all. Wow. So inside our sort of tech elite bubble, Twitter seems like the biggest thing in the world. But when you put it in perspective, that kind of direct interaction is really not taking a lot of traffic away from phone calls yet. But there's a second interaction between call center and social, and that is the influence, the ability to use Twitter as a way to complain or rank a company and talk about their brand. And that's the one that's having a lot of power over companies because they're going on, they're looking at the social media channels. They're seeing people complain about, waiting on hold too long, or the phone menu didn't make sense, or the agent had to, they had to repeat information to the agent was rude, a whole litany of complaints, right? And those complaints aren't new. I mean, we've all had those complaints, right?
Absolutely.
What's different now is that they're posted in a public forum, and they're permanent, and they're searchable. So, a single bad experience has a much bigger consequence to companies now than it did before. So this second interaction, the one of Twitter as a reviewing mechanism, as a feedback mechanism, that's driving companies to actually make real changes in the call center, to fix these problems that are leading to those complaints. So that second interaction is the more powerful one today.
Absolutely. I'll keep that in mind next time I want to whine about my cable company or something.
All right.
One of the other topics that is a big one here at IT Expo in addition to social is mobility. Can you talk to us a little bit about smartphones and call centers? Yeah,
smartphones are starting to have a really big impact on how companies are delivering customer service. And a big part of it is just generational. The next generation of consumers, they live on their smartphone. And data is showing that I think we just crossed the 50% mark of all phones that are sold are now smartphones. And that trend is just accelerating. So we're soon going to live in a fully smartphone world. So customers are going there first. And they want to be able to get issues resolved on the smartphone. And instead of going to, website would be a second choice, and then dialing in would be a third choice. So this is actually an opportunity for companies because the smartphone lets us break out of some of the things that have been holding back the call center experience. When you've got a smartphone, you have this great visual interface, so you can do things like ask pre-call questions on the phone. You can do things like hold someone's place in line and give them a call back when the agent's ready. You've got this rich interaction that can happen parallel to the call. So in many ways, I think the smartphone might be our salvation from decades of phone menu hell and decades of waiting on hold. And actually, my company has a product that is designed exactly for that. It's a simple component you add to your iPhone app that ties in with the call center very easily.
Anything that can make my customer experience better is fine with me.
Yeah, for sure.
And one other topic that we cover a lot on TMC is SIP and SIP trunking. How does that relate to the call center?
The SIP is gradually seeping in to more and more call centers. And the great thing about SIP is that it's providing, it's a protocol that gives us a little bit more flexibility in how we work with call centers. One of the big constraints on call center innovation has been that they're communicating with each other with the lowest common denominator, which is just a simple dial tone. That's one of the reasons why the IVR asks you for your account number, and then you get transferred to the agent, and the agent says, "What's your account number?" And you say, I gave it to you, right? And the reason that happens is that your call got bounced to an outsourced call center or a third party, and that transfer had no way to attach that call data, right? So SIP is solving that problem. The other great thing about SIP is it's allowed us to introduce a product we call in-call rescue. And so traditionally, Fonolo's been, you start at the web and you got this visual interface, or you start on the smartphone, visual interface, that's your entry point. But a lot of people still dial the 1-800 number, right? So in-call rescue helps those people. They've already dialed in, and and Fonolo is able to say, okay, there's a long hold time, press 1, you can hang up, you'll get a call back. That idea of getting a call back isn't new. What's different now is that before that doing that required on-premise equipment. You had to be in the call center to intercept that call and then turn it into an outbound call. And that was complicated and messy, right?
Yep.
And if you have outsourced call centers, forget it. What is a non-starter? That's why that happens so rarely, right? SIP changes that. And so we created this product, and it allows companies to add that kind of functionality without touching their call center at all. It's all cloud-based. Nothing to install, nothing to change, up and running in a few days.
Great. Sounds perfect. Well, Shai, thank you for joining us, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks, it was my pleasure.